I am David Stites, CFP professional with Fidelis Financial Strategies. What are some strategies to consider at this point? And so I'll run through a few strategies that I would say probably twice as many calls that I fielded in March and even this year were about, okay, the market's down, what's something smart we could do right now? Twice as many more than, okay, the market's down, I'm a little nervous, is everything okay? And so I think that surprises people. Usually you think, oh, I bet you got overwhelmed with calls. Because we talk about this quite often, because the expectations are there, because we know what to expect, I walk through that on the front end. I don't get a ton of calls like that. Mostly it's more about what can we do now that we're in this. We have some things that quote unquote are on sale. What are some ways to take advantage of that? One thing I do try to touch base on is, okay, we've had some major volatility. How did that feel? Is that something you can tolerate, or do you feel like, hey, as I get closer to the point that I need that, that's not something I want to go back through, or yeah, no problem. And so sometimes this is a good way to look at that, because the drop was sudden and the recovery has frankly been faster than even I would have expected at this point. That's something that we can certainly look at in 2020 and say, not only that, but on our end, we're saying, how did those investments react? The ones that we had put together and had a plan for, did it stay within the risk tolerance we were looking for, the movement that we expected? And so that's good. We also, as advisors, on a regular basis, at least every other week, sometimes more often, are looking at opportunities to say, okay, this guy's going crazy, he's made us some good money, but maybe it's a little high priced, and here's this good deal down here. Maybe I'll sell a little of this and buy some of this, or maybe as you're putting monthly amounts in, we're looking at the various options out there and saying, here's a good time to get in right here. And so many of my clients did a great job of saying, I'm usually putting in, a few $100s a month. Oftentimes it might be $500 a month because that hits your max and your Roth or whatever it is. And let's put in $2,000 this month and just get ahead in the year because it's down, and that way I'll get my contributions in earlier in the year, but maybe it'll pay off for us. And so I had quite a few clients in conversations that said, oh, let's do that. I'll try to put a little more in now. Maybe it was the stimulus check that you had. It was like, might as well put it in my account now rather than later. And so that was one good move. Probably another way to think about strategies is that I work with people on is what I call tax bracket management. And that's a lot of times I'll look at tax returns and I'll look at what's last year, what's this year going to look like. Is there a way that we can make Roth do things in the account that maybe maximize what you can get out of your dollar investments and not get into some taxes that are going to cost you a lot more simply because you maybe went over a little threshold? So we'll study that together. Sometimes that can make a big difference, and so that's important to make sure we're looking at that. I personally think, I may be wrong, but I personally think we're in probably some of the lowest tax margin brackets we're ever going to be in. As evidence, we just had $3 trillion that the government threw out and said, here, take this, spend this, we're going to try to take care of you. And then the federal deficit went and shot up some. So the percentage of our economy that is now equal to the debt that we've borrowed keeps growing and growing. Not that it's concern in the near term, I don't think that, but I think kids, grandkids, they're the ones that are going to have to deal with the goodies that we're getting now. And so two things the government can do that we can't do when we start piling up our debt is they can do two things. Oh, I think I'll charge more. I have the ability to charge, and it's inelastic demand, meaning people have to pay it no matter what. And so I'll charge more to get what I've promised people I'm going to pay them. The other thing is, oh, I told you I'd give you this much in Medicare or Social Security or whatever it is. I'll reduce that amount so that we can try to take care of what we borrowed from the past. And so a combination of those two or both, and they'll probably go after those with the most money first. But as we all know, as they always get the middle class somehow. And so we'll end up paying a share of that. And so one of the best approaches is get out of that game, where if we're in a Roth account and we're not having to worry about taxes anymore, then there's no required minimum distributions. We don't have to take it out at any certain time in the future. It's growing tax-free, and it might be the last thing we spend in retirement. And it helps us depend on ourselves and not on the government. So for providing for our needs down the road. And if they do shoot the rates way up to make up for some of the actions we're doing now, we'll be in an account that isn't taxed. And so we'll have options of maybe I'll take it from this pre-tax account this year, maybe from this after-tax account. So those are all popular strategies that I've heard and worked with clients this year, and things to consider as we go into this election year and beyond. We've had lots of administrations come and go, and the economy, as far as the investments that we're doing, have 100 years of track record of, well, they have more than that, but since 26, we've had a lot of growth years, regardless of what that looks like. So I'd say meet with your advisor on a regular basis. Make sure that we're following the plan as best we can. Let's be smart when there's times we can be smart. Overall, we just want to help as a firm to get you where you're trying to get to. Just have a heart of a teacher. And so if you have any questions, if there's a way that we can help, make those little steps along the way. We'd love to be a part of that process. You can reach us on our website, or feel free to call us and we'll set something up that works with your schedule via call, video chat, or in person. We're good either way. Thanks.